Yeah, I noticed, Jason said. Anyways, thanks for helping my camp while I was gone. You did an awesome job. Back at you, Percy said. Annabeth kicked his shin. She hated to interrupt a budding bromance, but Raina was right. They had serious things to discuss. We should talk about the great prophecy. It sounds like the Romans were aware of it too. Raina nodded. We call it the prophecy of the seven. Octavian, you have committed it to memory? Of course, he said. But Raina! Recite it, please, in English, not Latin. Octavian sighed. 7 half-blood shall answer the call. To storm or fire the world must fall. An oath to keep with a final breath, Annabeth continued. And foes bear arms to the doors of death? Everyone stared at her, except for Leo, who had constructed a pinwheel out of aluminum foil taco wrappers and was sticking it into the passing wind spirits. Annabeth wasn't sure why she had blurted out the lines of the prophecy. She just felt compelled. The big kid, Frank, sat forward, staring at her in fascination, as if she'd grown a third eye. Is it true you're a child of Athena? Yes, she said, suddenly feeling defensive. Why is that a surprise? Octavian scoffed. If you're truly a child of the wisdom goddess, then enough, Raina snapped. Annabeth is what she says. She's here in peace. Besides, she gave Annabeth a look of grudging respect. Percy is speaking highly of you. The undertones in Raina's voice took Annabeth a moment to decipher. Percy looked down, suddenly interested in his cheeseburger. Annabeth's face felt hot. Oh, gods. Raina had tried to make a move on Percy. That explained the tinge of bitterness, maybe even the envy in her words. Percy had turned her down for Annabeth. At that moment, Annabeth forgave her ridiculous boyfriend for everything he'd done wrong. She wanted to throw her arms around him, but she commanded herself to stay cool. Thanks, she told Raina. At any rate, some of the prophecy's becoming clear. Foes bearing arms to the doors of death? That means Romans and Greeks. We have to combine forces to find those doors. Hazel, the girl with the cavalry helmet and long curly hair, picked up something next to her plate. It looked like a large ruby. But before Annabeth could be sure, Hazel slipped it into the pocket of her denim shirt. My brother, Nico, went looking for the doors of death, she said. Wait, Annabeth said. You're Nico D'Angelo? He's your brother? Hazel nodded as if this were obvious. A dozen more questions crowded into Annabeth's head, but it was already spinning like Leo's pinwheel. She decided to let the matter go. Okay, you were saying? He disappeared. Hazel moistened her lips. I'm afraid I'm not sure, but I think something's happened to him. We'll look for him, Percy promised. We have to find the doors of death anyway. Thanatos told us we'd find both answers in Rome, like the original Rome. That's on the way to Greece, right? Thanatos told you this? Annabeth tried to wrap her mind around that idea. The death god? She'd met so many gods. She'd even been to the underworld. But Percy's story about freeing the incarnation of death itself really creeped her out. Percy took a bite of his burger. Now that death is free, monsters will disintegrate and return to Tartarus again like they used to. But as long as the doors of death are open, they'll just keep coming back. Piper twisted the feather in her hair. Like water leaking through a dam, she suggested. Yeah, Percy smiled. We got a dam hole. What? Piper asked. Nothing, he said. Inside joke. Anyways, the point is we'll have to get to the doors and close them before we can head to Greece. It's the only way we'll stand a chance of defeating the giants and making sure they stay defeated. Raina plucked an apple from a passing fruit tray. She turned it in her fingers, studying the dark red surface. You propose an expedition to Greece in your warship? Do you realize that the ancient lands, the Mare Nostrum, are dangerous? Mary who? Leo asked. Mare Nostrum. Yeah, Mare Nostrum, Jason explained. RC. It's what the ancient Romans called the Mediterranean. Raina nodded. The territory that was once the Roman Empire is not the only birthplace of the gods. It's the only ancestral home of the monsters. Titans and giants, and worse things. As dangers has traveled for the demigods, there it will be 10 times worse. You said Alaska would be bad, Percy reminded her. We survived that. Raina shook her head. Her fingernails cut little crescents into the apple as she turned it. Percy, traveling in the Mediterranean is a different level of danger altogether. It's been off limits to Roman demigods for centuries. No hero in his right mind would go there.